Hello everyone, today we're going to review the live-action Attack on Titan released in 2015 to 2016. It's a two-part movie, basically. It mixes the first half and second half of Season 1 together. Sadly, they cut out some characters and add some new ones, but is it really that bad? Well, let's look at the movie. First I'm going to do the characters, and I'm okay with the casting, but just use the hair colors in the anime. Now, Eren. Okay, I'm okay with what they did with Eren, but, yeah, I'm okay with what he did in both parts, that's fine, but it's how he was portrayed. He was portrayed as a pathetic, like, protagonist, and I wasn't really happy with that, because he just decides to, kill his motivation's just the worst. Like, that's, yeah, the hatred bit is correct, but his motivation definitely not. Just because he lost a girl doesn't mean he's the same as he is in the anime. That's just a big problem, first of all. Now, yes, he does have the rebellious nature. That's perfect. That's more like Rin. And fun fact, Rin and Eren have the same voice actor, Bryce Padenbrook. And another fun fact is that I watched the film in the English dub because I heard that I didn't really like how they sounded in Japanese. He's in this movie, so I preferred watching it in English. It actually was very fitting for this movie. Bryce does a good job as Eren in both media. Eren is still this character that wants to help people, but honestly, the anime does a much better job at that. Now let's move on to Mikasa. Now, my problem is that they cut out Mikasa's backstory, which is kind of frustrating because he just gives her the scarf unmeaningful. And also, she's portrayed as a dating girl for the first parts of the movie, and then she's this emotionless soldier, although, yeah, because Shikishima molded her to do so, and she practically avoids him. We hardly get a mention of the promise she made to Eren's mother, but eventually, at the end of the movie, she reverts back to how she is in the anime with all the character development that she loves and acknowledges Eren. Yeah, she does end up reverting back to how she is in the anime, which is good, but I wish they portrayed it from the very start. Although, at first it's bad portrayal, but then later on it becomes a more accurate portrayal. And I do like the actor who plays her and her English voice actor, Trini Nishimaru. Now, when we get to Armin, Armin is very accurate to how he is in the anime, but he comes with different ideas and he's got black hair instead of blonde, and also made him into tinkering. And I like how they gave him blue clothes to separate him from Eren, so we can tell the difference. But what I don't like is how they cut out his relationship with Eren about finding the sea. However, we do get a hint of this because we do see on the missile there is a picture of the sea, and that's what inspires them instead of Armin's books. Now, personally, I did not like how they cut out the other characters from the anime, like, for example, Marco, Bertold, Reiner, Historia, Ymir. However, I do like how they added Tsunagi, that's fine. The other characters were kind of a mixed bag for me. However, I do find Hyana quite interesting. She was nice, but I don't like how they used her, that's all. I don't have much to say about Hanji, but I'm okay with her name change, which is alright. Personally, I do like the idea of Hanji holding these modern type weapons and her appreciating it like, oh my god, this is so amazing. I've always wanted to see that, but I was only in fan fiction. However, I like how I get to see that stuff. That's kind of cute, and I do like a character development here. It's nice, but also I don't like how John is killed off. But we'll get to that in a minute, but I think it's done so Sasha and Hanji could live, I guess. Now let's move on to Captain Shikishima, also secretly known as Haku Jaeger. He was based on Zeke from the manga, which I'm pretty fine with. I do like his inclusion in the movie. He's kind of interesting, but he's nowhere near as interesting as Levi. I really hate how they cut Levi out. That's the worst change that they have ever done, because Levi is also an interesting character, and I would even say that he's more interesting than Shikishima. I can give credit for his actor and the performance he put on, and I do like his English voice actor. It's the same voice actor who plays Zeke. And side note, Darby. I do like the idea of him starting his own rebellion, which is nice. He's willing to blow up the inner walls to lead Titans in to topple their regime. Eren is against this, so they end in some sort of conflict. But he ends up redeeming himself and decided to blow up the Colossal Titan for good. His ideals are really just a mix. Side note, now he has the Armored Titan. White Titan. Then we meet General Director Kubal, who is the combination of essentially all authoritative characters. He's got the English voice for Pixis as well. It eventually turns out that he is the Colossal Titan who broke the wall in Monson. At the end of the day, General Director Kubal is just nothing more than a typical power-seeking villain. But I still find him a little bit more interesting, like how he's responsible for Eren's father's death, that's all. And there's still a little bit more. Both Part 1 and Part 2 are one story, just split into two, but the main storyline, is a mix of the first and second half together, mixed into one story. But I do not like how they cut out Annie. All those other plot lines are completely gone, and replaced with some new ones. We begin the story off with Eren at a bomb. While heading to the walls, which I do like from the movie, he runs into the protective type named Soda, who was a replacement for Hannes, and I got to admit, we learned that Eren's parents are dead and that he raised Eren, which was nice. Hannes, he didn't repay Eren's father at all until he died, which is kind of sad. I mean, he was going to, but he just didn't eventually, which is kind of disappointing. And then we move on to the Colossal Titan that lays waste to Monson. Now this is where I start hating the movie. Eren and Mikasa get separated, and of course he watches Mikasa get eaten by the Smiling Titan, but of course it happens off screen, and he thought that happened. Now first of all, he has kind of weak reasons for fighting the Titans in the first place, just because, the Smiling Titan ate Mikasa, the girl that he had a crush on. Really, man? Come on. And we don't get a mention of the mum at all. I respect trying something new, but they could have just had Eren and Mikasa get stranded in the building while the mum is separated outside and gets eaten. Because there's no emotional crying, no regrets on character relationships, and no build-up with a manly chomp. It was just music as audio. I think its biggest problem is that it's going up against one of the best executions of an opening of its industry. 2 years have gone by and now Eren has finished all of his training. Now this is where you know all the changes. Everyone is immediately in the scouts.
We paid for decades of peace in the coin of tragedy. The Colossal Titan struck like a thief in the night.
Hanji's name is now Hans for some reason. Levi is completely cut out, which is disappointing. But I do like how we get some screen time on what's going to happen for our main characters. But the problem is there's more time on the families, and we still get to find out who they are, the main characters. This is also where you get to know the changes as well. Instead of blocking the wall with a boulder, instead they're going to blow up the top of the wall, which is okay for a change. We still have hothead Jean and potato-obsessed Sasha, although Hyana is in the background, but we don't get anyone else. And another problem is that it's just music as audio, really, because in the anime it has fantastic soundtrack, even for the quiet stuff. And now, for some reason, there's vehicles and tanks instead of horseback that they use to outmaneuver Titans instead of running and praying. I gotta admit, I do like the scene where they're in the tank, but of course I hate the shit with the child Titan and them just running away from Titans. But that's not what happens during the scouting mission with Annie. However, Tsunagi weirdly picks a Titan and then throws it like it's nothing. What the hell? Then we meet Captain Shigishima and then Mikasa, who practically avoids Eren. Her whole promise about keeping Eren safe is just thrown out of the window, which is very bad and disrespectful. Not to mention this also cancels out Eren's motivation, unless Eren couldn't because he can't turn back now. Of course we eventually get a small break, which is good for pacing, I gotta admit. Of course, I do like Eren's scream later on, and I do like how Shikishima talks about cow and cattle. That was really nice, especially with Mikasa's piano playing. But what I don't get is the bite on her hip, which makes no sense whatsoever. It doesn't explain how she survived. Sometime after, he starts flirting with Kiana for some reason, and then later on, his anger issues reinactivate again when she's eaten, and it turns out that that's going to be the Titan that eats him, that he's going to burst out of when he becomes the Attack Titan. Spoiler alert. And I do like when Eren flies with his ODM gear. That is really nice. And the music for it is also perfect. And I like Shikishima's line of, "Let's see you fly." That was pretty nice. And I do like how Jean grows up as a character as well. Eren loses his leg and then watches Armin get eaten until Eren saves Armin. Armin lives. Eren is devoured by the Titan and then becomes the Attack Titan, killing off all the Titans that are in his sight, and then loses steam. And that was the end of the film. The ending was nice, but it's a part 1, part 2 thing, so it's not the actual ending. The ending was just like, it shouldn't be an ending. This should have been one movie, honestly. But I honestly prefer the one in the anime. Honestly, I prefer how Grish's death was handled in the anime. However, the movies kind of fuck it up a little bit. Basically, as a kid, Eren was injected with the Attack Titan serum. I bet that's how they pass out Titans like that. But Grish's death was a disservice because he's just killed by a bunch of military police because they found out what he was doing. Although this is foreshadowing for Eren's brother, Shikishima, in this version. There was a lot more millions of twists in the original version about learning about the corrupt politics of the military police, like Rod Reese, for example. However, Eren is later found on trial like he is in the anime in the second half, and no Levi to kick his ass. Kubil is the one who is prosecuting Eren. Of course, Armin and everyone else still tries to defend him. Kubil, in a calm rage, kills Soda for defending him, and then Soda reveals that Eren has a brother, because it's heavily implied that Shikishima is Eren's brother. And right before Eren's about to get executed, another Titan shows up and kidnaps him. This is adapting how Eren was kidnapped by Annie, but then saved by Levi. And without Levi to save him, this goes completely anime original. Eren later wakes up in a room with Shikishima. Shikishima states that he has saved Eren, but Shikishima was unable to stop the Armored Titan, although White Titan now. So basically they watch a video about the Titan origins where Titans were just experiments, and that goes against what the anime's about, because what about adapting Marley and stuff? Because they're responsible for turning innocent Eldians into Titans, or criminal Eldians, whatever. I do like the idea of a rebellion for any story, and I do like how they use it in this movie with Shikishima's rebellion. And of course, both teams get in a fight. Of course, Eren disagrees with Shikishima's ideal, good for the story. Eren and Mikasa get their asses handed to by Shikishima. However, Tsunade decides to sacrifice himself, which is really sad because he was actually such a good character. But of course, it has to be an unsatisfying death a little bit because he still does something impossible, like pull over a tower, which is clearly impossible. It's almost like he's a god or something. It turns out that Shikishima is a White Titan, and of course Eren and him get in a fight. Of course Eren does release his berserk mode and beats the shit out of him. Of course they detonate the bomb on top of the wall, or inside the wall, whatever, and then they meet Kubil again. He happened to survive, and it turns out, shockingly and surprisingly, he is in fact a colossal titan, and he destroyed the first wall for selfish reasons, just to gain political control. Truth is, I expected it. I finished watching the first half of season 4, part 1, so I already knew that the colossal titan was going to be a human shifter. And it's kind of cliche to just say, oh, this is a situation where the government is evil, but I need to play this clip really quickly.
統治するためだ。恐怖で。Better to be free in hell than live as a slave in paradise!
But the director?
That's how he rules us. Through fear.
Now, honestly, I do love the Attack on Titan dub, and I personally prefer this dub for the movie, honestly. Bryce Pembroke does such a good job with Eren in this movie, and so does everyone else. This almost ends with Kubal trying to eat Eren. However, I do like the redemption of Shikishima, where he uses a missile to explode Kubal, knowing that he'll die. I, of course, recently saw what happens to Zeke. Zeke didn't get any redemption. He was just an asshole at the end. However, right here, Shikishima actually tries to help Eren and, of course, go against his ideals for once. His transformation also gave me a Lego Movie type vibe.
I like your spirit, kid, but I'm sorry! Hey!
Now, they do kill off Jean in this fight, which I'm really disappointed of. I bet they're trying to do that so Sasha and Hanji could live, but there was this other scene where he reverted back to how he was earlier, before they headed in the van. But the rest of the film is okay. Some stuff were terrible, or annoying garbage, but of course CGI was good for the Titans and the Titan shifters. The dubbing was really nice, and I only give this film like a 6 out of 10 or 5.6 out of 10. And as always, thanks for watching. This took me forever to make.